Hey guys, welcome to the Real Life Everything podcast. We're your hosts, Ebony Westwood
and Kristen Noel.
Here on the RLE pod, we dive into the real, relatable, and raw topics as we navigate adulthood and real life our dreams.
Our mission is to support women by encouraging authenticity, self-awareness, and celebrating all our real life wins and sisterhood along the way.
What are you real lifing today, Chris?
I'm real lifing everything. Let's get into it.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Real Life Everything podcast. My name is Ebony Westwood.
And I'm Kristen Noel.
And this is
the Real Life Everything podcast. Cheers.
Cheers. Ah! What in the world? Chris, how have you been real lifing, or what have you been real lifing lately?
What have I been real lifing? I've been real lifing my healing journey.
Yes.
When it comes specifically to relationships.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So what about you though?
I have been real lifing my healing journey as well when it comes to one, my personal relationship with self, and then the relationship with others.
Yeah.
This year has definitely been one heck of a healing and restoring year in friendships and just relationships for me. So, yeah, we got to get into that.
Ooh, that's so good. There's so much there. What does that look like? First of all, because I feel like any relationship issue that we have with others can ultimately be resolved if we have a solid relationship with ourselves. Whether that means boundaries, whether that means knowing how to respond to people who we feel like may be toxic or negative, but maybe they have to be in our lives. But how do we, how can we best react to that? And it takes having a healthy relationship with ourselves.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I like to add to that. I think awareness also helps too. I talk about this a lot when we get so upset or so angry or react, right, to someone who may have said or done something that, caused us to react or to feel that trauma, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times when we're pointing the finger at someone else, we have to remember that there are 3 to 4 fingers that are pointing back at us.
Ooh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so the way I like to look at it is in conflict, one, try to respond and not react, but also ask myself, and my therapist has taught me this over the past few months, is to use this resource or tool called the downward effect arrow.
What's that?
Where you ask yourself a few different questions to get to the bottom of why you were triggered or why you felt the way you felt, and if you, however you felt, can it support what you think may be true?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So for example, let's just say, I'm just going to give out this funny scenario. This isn't true, guys, but let's just say we were dating. And let's say, you said that you were out with the girls all weekend or the fellas all weekend or whatever. And I feel as though you're lying to me and that you're not obviously telling me the truth. You were with so-and-so from up the street. Right. You was with your side and you were not with the fellas or with the girls. And so I start to react to that, right? Not respond, but react. And so maybe definitely the older version of me, and I'm not perfect, but the older version of me have reacted in scenarios like that. You say you with such and such, but giving receipts, and these aren't even real factual receipts. These are just receipts that I make up in my head.
Right.
Giving trauma being the receipt. You get what I'm saying? Or giving, I've been here before. This feels too familiar.
Right. So
those are the receipts. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's I am accusing you of lying. I'm accusing you not hanging out with the girls or the guys, like you said you are. And I'm believing, I'm convinced that what I believe is true and what you're telling me is a lie.
Without any concrete proof.
Without any concrete proof. So now you have to use this downward effect arrow to ask yourself, well, one, what is this? I don't want to say a lie, but what is this lie that you're believing?
What is this story that
what
you're
is the
believing?
story?
What's the narrative?
What's the narrative?
Yeah.
Why do you believe it? And do you have anything to back it up? Do you have the truth to back it up? And that's the hardest, like that last question, if you have no truth to back up that your person was actually out there cheating on you, then why spend all that time even believing it?
Anxious and telling yourself something, right? Until the facts are presented.
That's
so good.
I try to really exercise that in a lot of situations these days. You know, try to just use that downward effect arrow. So that I can save myself from heartache, headache,
from overthinking,
anxiety.
The anxiety that can come with that is real.
Depression, thinking that, you know, easily I've dealt with like thoughts like I deserve to be in this toxic space. I don't deserve any better. You know, so I don't want to relive that. I don't want to experience that, not saying ever again, but like I don't want to intentionally put myself through that anymore. So I think the best thing for me is just to really use that downward effect arrow and ask myself that really hard question, like, do you have any facts to back this up? And if you don't, chill.
Shout out to that tool.
Yes. It's been one of the best things. I can use that in my tool belt too. So that's how I've been able to get through some toxic situations that try to flare up. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. So I feel like for both of us, a central theme this year, I think, has been like moving from negative or toxic relationships and transitioning to healthy ones, both with ourselves and with our partners. Well, I don't necessarily have a partner at this moment. But I know for me, like, I recently got out of a long-term relationship and there were so many good things. Like, I would never talk down on his name because I still believe like he has a great heart and he's a pure individual. He has morals and really like a belief system that I super respect. However, there was so many times in our relationship that it just didn't work. And, you know, we were together for over 3 years, going on 4 years. But there was a lot of toxic moments. And I knew coming into this podcast that if I were to stay in that relationship, there was going to be a misalignment between what I wanted to stand for in this platform we're building and what was going on in my real life in a relationship that I was in. And so I'm no longer in that relationship, and I do feel the growth that I've been experiencing. Now I'm kind of like entering a new relationship. It's not official, but you know, I'm low-key in love. Right. But it's just like, I feel the growth, and I can see, you know, the effects of just like having to heal from past traumatic situations. Like, they come up. So even though I feel like I've done a pretty good job of being self-aware, grieving, you know, the relationship like I needed to, understanding my own toxic behavior patterns, because I'm not going to say it was only him, you know, like,
no, for sure.
I definitely responded in negative ways, and it impacted me emotionally. And now I can see sometimes how I respond from that place of just like, oh, my last relationship did a number on me. And so now just transitioning into, you know, what I would like to be a way healthier, a way more fruitful relationship, I could just spot those differences. And even this new person is like helping me become aware of like, oh, what is this reaction coming from? Like, is that coming from a past situation? You know, so I think that tool that you just mentioned could really help me. And also, it's just like, sometimes you just have to live, you know, you have to live and be in the experience to know like, oh, this is happening right now in the moment, and know like, damn, what I just said, I shouldn't have said that, but I know where it's coming from, and now I can know like, don't do this moving forward. That's kind of like the space I'm in right now.
I like that. Without getting teary-eyed.
No,
I actually like that. It's very real. Awareness is it's so important, and like you said, like, live through those experiences so that you can learn the lesson, you know? Oftentimes, like, I am a firm believer, if you do not learn a lesson, God will like circle you back on that thing again and again and again until you learn it. And I feel like for me, I didn't learn the lesson. And so he made me go through it over and over and over, and just so many different scenarios in life or situations in life. And I, again, not speaking from a place of perfection, but I do believe that I learned one of the most important lessons in the past year. And I hope and pray that I don't have to go through that again.
You don't go back, right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, it's all about, like you said, like, you have to go through it, you know, and you have to just, I seek God. Like, I be like, what is the lesson in this? Because God, I don't want to do this again.
What do you think one of the lesson that you just spoke on, like, what was that lesson, or what was one of the biggest lessons that you learned in that season that you're applying to your life now?
Yeah, it's been a minute, but I believe, like, the situation I was coming out of, or the relationship that I was coming out of, I wasn't walking like 100% in my truth, you know. I was really fighting. I was fighting like demons pretty much when it came to my truth and people that I wanted in my life. I think also that I was fighting with being confident in self at the same time. You know, like, I seek people's validation. I needed to know that what I felt or what I wanted or what I needed, it was right by, like, it was right by you, and that it made sense to you more than it made sense to me. And so, and I felt like I was a people's pleaser. I know I was. My therapist that took me through homework assignments where, you know, you have you on the left side, and then you have what people believe, or do you care about what people think on the right hand side? And I found myself checking more boxes on the right hand side than I did on the left. So I was seeking a lot of out or external validation. That was one lesson I learned, that, you know, some things are okay to seek external validation, but there are also a lot of other things that I don't need external validation for. And I needed to reboot that confidence in self. So once I became aware of that, that became a lesson learned for me. And I would say now, if I'm seeking someone's validation, it's not because I am like depending on or codependent on your validation. I can come up with this decision on my own and walk confidently in that.
Oh gosh, that's so good.
So seeking other people's validation was a lesson that I learned. And then once I was able to do that, I also was able to, again, like I said, be able to walk in my truth. Like, I know what I like, I know what I don't like, I know what I want, I know what I don't want.
You know what you need.
You know what you know. So once I started to become more aware of that, I became more confident in that. So when I walk into rooms, like, and people are like trying to figure me out, I'm like, I don't need you to figure me out, you know, because I know me, and this, and as long as, and I mean this out of love, like, as long as what makes me happy also make the people around me happy, you know, then we don't need, and I'm actually kind of like, I'm walking on eggshells when I say this, because I don't want to put like too much out. But like, just speaking like of relationships specifically, I became very clear on what I wanted in a relationship. I communicate that with my partner, and we were able to come to that decision together. You get what I'm saying? When before, I felt like I knew what I wanted, but I was just too scared to say this is what I wanted, you know, because what I wanted, I knew was going to probably like upset you or make you like run away and not want to be in this relationship anymore. And so I put my wants and needs to the side because I just wanted to make you happy and to also make sure that you showed up and you stayed with me. You know? But that's not fair.
It's not.
And I just learned that I would just respectfully never put myself in that situation again. What I have learned especially since the pandemic, that your tribe is out there. You don't have to go and redesign your whole life just to fit
into one box or with one person.
You don't.
Exactly.
Your tribe is out there, baby. And if you're confident with walking in your truth and it just don't work for these group of people over here or that person over there, then go and find the person that it do work for.
Yeah. And it's not always simple. But it's not always simple. It's always easier said than done.
Yeah.
However, Yes.
But
Like
just knowing,
your tribe is there. Your people are there. Your person is there. I think we're speaking on relationships that can be either romantic or
or platonic,
friendship,
yeah.
platonic. But yeah, so like without going too deep into your situation, are you comfortable sharing any examples of like how you might have shown up in the past in terms of like maybe people pleasing, whether it might be a friend, a
Yeah.
partner, an associate, a business, whatever. Like what was something that you did that was like people pleasing that you wouldn't do now that you have more a higher level of confidence?
Yeah. So like in one of my intimate, well, not my one of, that sound look crazy, but intimate relationship I was in, just one of them.
One of many.
Oh, guys, I promise you ain't like that. Not no more. Anyway, so yeah, like this one intimate relationship I was in, I was really struggling with maintaining a friendship with someone else in my life. And I was trying to figure out, I was trying to navigate that space.
Yeah.
Like, one, do I want that person in my life? Well, I don't know if I do, because at the time I was also dealing with some hurt
Yeah.
and some issues that me and that person that I wanted as my friend, I was dealing with some pain from that relationship alone. So it's like, while I'm trying to figure out if we can be friends,
Yeah.
I'm also having to show up in this relationship. You know what I mean? And that was just really, really hard to navigate through. But then I guess once not really like when I made the decision to say, oh, I want this person in my life. It was just more so like, let's just try it and see where it goes.
Yeah.
Like, let me see if I can have this relationship and this friendship
Yeah.
in my life at the same time.
Yeah.
And because I don't know all the answers, I'm willing to try it to see, and we'll just see what comes out of it respectfully, right? But when I presented that to my partner at the time, they were not with it. And I like, that's cool and everything. But my toxic trait is, if you can do it, so can I.
Yeah.
So if you could be friends with all of your exes,
Oh.
then so can I.
Right.
And it was just a no for them. And I, again, because I was afraid of that person, like letting go of that person or that person letting me go, I just said, okay.
Yeah.
And I stayed in that relationship.
Even though they were being hypocritical.
Even though they were being
Because
hypocritical.
how you have a boundary against something that you don't even honor
Right.
yourself in your
For
own
sure.
life? That makes no sense.
For sure. You know what I mean? And it's like, a lot of times I was told, like, this is just a platonic friendship. Okay, that's fine. But if I still feel uncomfortable with this person in your life,
Right.
and you still choose to keep them in your life, then, you know what I mean? Like, well, so what are you saying? Like, how I feel, my feelings are not validated, and you still just going to do what you want to do?
Yeah.
Okay, well, so at that point, because I didn't really know how to navigate that space, I just chose to settle. I chose to settle, and I chose to be okay with what they wanted over what I wanted for myself.
Yeah.
And I spoke nothing of it since then, you know, because I also didn't, I was, like I said, my concern was like me losing that person.
Yeah.
And I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like, it ain't like I'm not going to say it ain't like I need anybody in my life, because I believe that we were made to have a partner on earth.
I think so too.
You know,
Right.
but like, I think also, and we talked about this the other day in my best friend's chat, like having standards, you know, when you walk into these relationships.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have them, sometimes you don't. Sometimes they are only external and they're not written down to remind you every day when you're journaling. You know, sometimes they show up and sometimes they don't for, you know, situations or relationships. And so I know I had standards with that relationship, but there were also other standards that I just didn't have or I wasn't aware of. And like I said, I was just like seeking people's validation. So I would say then versus now, I was in a very low area of my life compared to where I am today. And I really wanted that person to be in my life by any means necessary. So if it meant me not seeking or exploring this friendship to see if it can actually just be a friendship and make something of it or not, then so be it, because I want you in my life one whole time. And I'm not saying this to bash this person because we're no longer together, but like,
it's okay. it get real here, y'all. This real life.
When you share that with me, from that day forward, I just started like journaling intentionally. And I would write down, like it got so deep that I would write down standards that I've never even like seen, you know what I'm saying? Or like talk to myself or say, hey, like, what do you want in this a platonic relationship? What do you want in an intimate relationship? So I like started writing down like mad standards. I started writing down non-negotiables. I never in my life wrote those things down. And I say that to say, like now I can appreciate someone who has non-negotiables because I have them now. I know how that feels to value that when before I didn't have it. So when they were like, I just felt like you were using, I don't know, like they were more against me than with me. But at the end of the day, they just had non-negotiables. So now I can respect that, right? But before, no, I was just like, I don't know what this is. And plus, I'm a little bit more free person. You know what I mean? So it's like,
I can relate
I
to
was
that.
willing to explore things more than to have like a hard no on things.
Ooh, I can so relate. Yeah.
And at that time, I didn't understand. And again, I'm not perfect, but like now I definitely get it. So yeah, we like operating in a world where we can walk in our authenticity more. And I'm confident in what I know, and I'm confident in what I'm feeling, and I can express that, and it's all in a safe space, and I'm just thankful for that.
Oh my gosh, I just want to sit in that because that is, yeah, we need some tissue over here. Yes. No, that, oh my gosh, there's so many things that you mentioned there that, like, this is what it's about. I think, like, we're in our early 30s, and I think this is literally the exact lessons that we should be learning at this stage.
No,
like,
for
everybody's
sure.
journey is different, but overall with life and just like, there's certain things that I feel like that happen in certain stages, certain eras, certain, you know, age groups or whatever. And I feel like this is literally the perfect time. It makes the most sense to learn these lessons.
Yeah.
They're not always easy, but it's something that we have to learn. And I feel like maybe in our 20s, like we're still a little bit too young to really grasp the nuances of those type of relation, like seasoned things. But it's something that you don't want to learn too late, like in your 40s or something.
That
40s,
part.
not that it's too late, like, but like you don't want to learn it too late in life. So I feel like this is the time to be like, that's what comes with being a woman, and now we can make better decisions and have a better life that feels so good, you know, that feels more fulfilled in our relationships, both with ourselves and with others. It's just like it's an internal feeling, you know, like it's not like an outward glow up necessarily, even though it can be like, maybe you do glow a little bit more when this happens, but 9 times out of 10, it's just like that internal knowing, like, I'm different now. There's things that I'm not going to stand for anymore. There's situations that I'm never going to return to, and this is how I'm moving now. And it's just that internal confidence, like you said. Even if you might have looked confident before, you know, people might have just thought you was the most confident person on earth before, but now you know it's like a different level.
For sure.
It's a different level, and that's just something that we have to carry with us internally as we learn these lessons. But I definitely know how it feels to just not really have like boundaries, non-negotiables, or even if you might have them, but you don't consciously think of them.
Exactly.
So like having that time and space to write them down and to consciously state like, this is what I don't want. You know, this is what I can't have in my long-term relationship. That brings a whole new level of awareness. And I feel like with my last relationship, I definitely had things that I have values that I really wanted in my partnership. And a lot of them weren't there, you know. A lot of them were, but then a lot of them weren't. And I feel like for me, I still wanted it to work with that person so bad that it was just like, okay, I still try to make it through. You know, I still try to think like maybe we can make it work, because I think two things can be true. A, no one is perfect.
Yeah.
But also B, that doesn't mean you have to settle.
Exactly.
And so it just growing wiser comes with like the wisdom of knowing what's settling and what is not set. You know, like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, you have to know innately, and that's only a knowledge that you can possess. But like, when am I settling, and when am I making it work with a person who I know I'm supposed to be with, who they might tick most of the boxes, but of course no one's perfect, but do they meet your biggest, most important values? You know, are your boundaries being respected? Are their boundaries being respected? Do you guys really align on the most important things in life? And are you genuinely excited and joyful about being with this person?
Exactly.
And I'm not a relationship expert, like literally not at all. It ain't no ring finger here, just to put that out there. However, I feel like right now I'm in this stage where, especially with this relationship that's blossoming good, because it might not pan out to be my husband. However, it's showing me what a healthy relationship foundation should look like, and how to grow something that doesn't necessarily meet your like perfect ideal standard. However, it hits the most important things when you think of a long-term partnership. And it's already showing me like, wow, like I kind of overlooked these things in my last, 3.5 year relationship. And I knew that those things didn't meet like my ideal situation. But when, and it's just like, it didn't hit A, it didn't hit B, it didn't hit C, it didn't hit D or E. Like everything, like it's so many things that it didn't hit, but I still try to make it work. Because there was a long list of positive attributes. But at the end of the day, it was just like some core things were missing. So my lesson there is like, pay attention to the core things.
I heard that a lot growing up, and like women who were in their single season and how they were like intentionally being single, and they wanted their I can't think of the name in the Bible, but like they just wanted, like they were so intentional. And I used to look at it, honestly, truthfully, I used to look at like people who live that lifestyle, women who live that lifestyle. I'd be like, that is so cliche. You're just doing what the girlies do. Like, are you really happy being single? And I think for me, I love. So it's like single season is just not for me, like, and that's crazy.
You want your man by your
like,
side.
come on now, who don't want that, right?
My man.
But yes, to say all that, to just say like, it's so important to write those things down and to be aware of those things, so that you don't go into these in your relationship, like I said, with like a chicken with your head cut off, just letting life take control of you. I believe being the driver of your vehicle and not the passenger. You know what I mean? Because you easily become the passenger real fast.
Exactly.
If you don't have any sense of things.
Even if you move with intention in other areas in your life, it is easy to fall into that. And I think that we have to relinquish control in some degree.
For sure.
And I know we talked about that on the first episode of like meeting God halfway. We have to surrender. We can't control every outcome, every situation, especially when dealing with other people, like other people's experiences, perspectives, their mind, how they think. And if we're dealing with the opposite sex, especially, like they're wired differently. So we can't always control a situation. However, we can move with intention, and we can, it's just like that halfway point. I'm always thinking about, when I think about moving with intention, I'm always thinking about, what can I do on my end to meet God halfway where God wants me to be. I can't control everything, but I do have control. I do have that overall, like I am the driver of my own life. So if I get to a certain point, if I'm in a relationship and I'm 6 months, a year in, and it's just not going in the direction that I wanted to go, then at that point it's just like, all right, let me do what I have to do.
Yeah.
But don't let it just drone on for 3 years.
No,
that's kind of what I did.
Yeah.
And I feel like the relationship that I was supposed to have, I had it. I don't regret anything.
Yeah.
But looking back, I would do it differently. At the same time, it's just like, I don't know if I would do it differently. Like, we went to Morocco. Like,
that did go to Morocco. Y'all did.
The best trips ever.
Yeah, some things you would do differently.
I wouldn't not be with him. But I learned that lesson of just like, when I realize something isn't for me, I need to pivot.
Yeah.
Instead of just kind of like letting it flow.
Yeah.
So,
I think I was a good pivoter, just to kind of like lighten the spirit a little bit. I think I was a pivoter in my relationships. It's something like I'm such a dating type girl. I love going on dates, right? So it's funny because like growing up, well, not growing up, but like in my 20s, pretty much in my 20s when I thought I was dating people. Girl, they were like in full-fledged relationships with me. And I'm like, when did this happen? And that's also because I never had the value of relationships. Like I never had that much value for them. Well, I did. Let me back up a little bit. I did because I got married. So obviously I valued a relationship. But then after my separation and divorce, it was just something about the word relationships. It was just something about, it felt like entitlement to me. It felt like control to me.
Because that was your experience in that relationship.
No, not really. It wasn't, I didn't experience that in that relationship. However, I did feel like after a relationship comes marriage. And I'm not ready to get married. Like, I think I got married because it felt right, for sure.
Yeah.
And it also sounded right, especially when you're like, just that Christianity, walking, living up to other people's expectations.
Also military, right?
Well, no, this person wasn't military. Not my ex-husband. Oh, gotcha. No, not military. Okay, so, like, it was just living up to other people's expectation and living up to the expectation of my religion, right?
Yeah, right.
So, sure. And it felt right. So that's why I got married. But other than that, I never really, I guess, wanted to get married. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I definitely didn't want to get married 2-3 more times after that. Like, if I'm going to get married
again. It wasn't an internal wish or desire, but it was just like, oh, this is what I think I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, what I'm supposed to do. And so I did it. But then after the divorce and I started dating, like, I know I'm a cool chick and everybody trying to wife me up, but I'm just here for the dates, friend. Like, that's all I want. I don't want a relationship. I don't want to get married to you. But of course, I didn't say that to those people. I was just like, whatever you think this is, you can think whatever it is. And I promise you, Kristen, I was in like about 2-3 relationships at one time. You know what I'm saying?
One-sided relationships. Like, they go with me, but I don't go with you.
No, for sure. And we were just talking about this in the girls' chat the other day. Like, again, when you date with no standards and no real intentions, like, life can take over. So they were taking over the relationship and they really thought we were in this. I'm telling you, I was dating like 3 people at one time. I lie to you not. And I was just like,
no, that's funny.
I just thought we were going on dates. Like, this was fun to me.
Hilarious.
And 6 months later, we're still here. Like, this is not a relationship. But to them, yeah.
No, that's so funny to me because right now what I'm in is just like, we're in this early stage and I feel like, part of me is feel like that's my man. Like, but then it's also like, he could also think the same thing, like, we're not in a relationship.
Yeah, we're not in a relationship, right.
So I get it.
No, girl, I was living that life for a very long time. And then as I got older and like in my late 20s and early 30s when I was, still dating, okay, yes, I know that I'm in a relationship with this person at this point. You know, like, I'm not just out here relationship with you and you.
Right.
Like, no, I'm in a relationship with this person. But now for me, and I shared this with you before, I feel like one thing I've learned in the past few years is just the different levels of dating, from dating to actually marriage.
Yeah.
And for me now, I'm just like very intentional when when I am involved with somebody, and being intentional about like where are we on this
Yes.
ladder here
Yeah.
of relationships. You know,
Yeah.
like, are we just dating? Are we
Right.
exclusive dating? Are we together? Are we like, I'm very, because I feel like the engagement, obviously, in the marriage piece is easy.
Right.
It's obvious,
Right.
right? But like sometimes people don't know if they're actually dating a person,
Yes. Yeah.
or if they're in a relationship with that
Right.
person.
Right.
And for some reason, people just feel like it's okay to just, like, you internally think you are, but I mean, yeah, internally you think you are, but externally you have not communicated that with me, or I haven't communicated that with you. That's a non-negotiable for me.
That clarity is so important.
It's so important.
I really cherish that too right now.
Yeah.
And it can be tricky. So like, I feel like if you don't necessarily have a title yet, if you're not trying to move that fast to put a title around things, you still kind of want to know what you're doing with that person.
What are we doing?
And it can get awkward, especially with guys.
No,
I feel
for
like
sure.
With guys especially.
Okay, so like keeping it real, you know, I date both sex, right? So even dating women, and I have to say this, because I was also, it was a season in my life where I felt like, oh, it's easier to date a woman than it is to date a man.
Yeah.
Until I started dating these women. And I'm like, baby, we are all the same.
Right.
You know, we're all saying we are not the same. No, we are the same, you know? So I say that to say, like, I know oftentimes it's easier to say, like, especially with the guys, no.
Oh,
especially with these.
It's full circle.
It's full circle. It is like, they like, you know, especially the type that I be dating, child. The studs. Love y'all, but damn. No, like, they be like, they have a male mentality. Right. And maybe it is a guy thing.
I think so, because it might be I think it's the masculinity of
yes. That I'm whining, dining her, like she's my, no, I need you to talk, I need you to communicate that with me.
State
what's
going on, how do you feel about me?
Yeah.
What is this? And even if you're honest, like I still want to give it time before I invest fully.
Yeah.
Or even if it's just like, you know, I still want to
no, for sure.
I still want to have some fun.
Just say that. Just say that.
Or if it's like, I really want to lock in with you, but you know, I still want to go on some dates here and there.
Yeah.
Just say that.
Yeah, just say that. And that's kind of getting back to the point that we were making earlier. Like, it's so important to just walk in your truth. Know that you know what you want, and be confident in that thing. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Be confident in it. And be honest with people. Be honest with yourself, but also be honest with people around you. Right. And if they don't get it, then it ain't for them. Right. You are not for them.
Get out before it's too late.
Get out before it's too late. Get for the girls and guys that get it, they get it. But the ones that don't, they don't. Right. And it's okay. Why? Because your tribe is out there.
And if you don't exit that situation now, you're only going to build resentment in the future. That's what I learned. You're going to resent the situation. So you might as well. Nip it in the bud. You know?
What, and this is like a real question, but like, what wrong would it do to you if you nip it in the bud? Like,
right.
You know, before you hit that 5-year, 10-year, 15-year mark of being with someone that is just not adding value, or
in the way that you need it to.
In the way that they're not serving you in the way that you need it to. Like, what's the harm in saying, you know what, this is just, and I think, I mean, the obvious answer would be time, because you've already invested so much time. You know, you've invested probably money or a home, this, that, and the third. I get that. Yeah. But like, I think one thing that we mutually value is just really visualizing the life that we see for ourselves, and the most, not in a selfish, unhealthy way, but a healthy, selfish way. Right. Like, what is this life? Because when I'm visualizing this life, I'm not just thinking about me. Right. I'm thinking about my kids. I'm thinking about my partner, and I'm thinking about how can this all make sense for us, right? So I think for women like us, when we're imagining ourselves living a certain lifestyle, a lifestyle that is serving to us, but then we're like in these healthy or these toxic relationships, it's something's not adding up.
Right.
And
or
it's
one-sided relationship.
One-sided relationship.
It's not fitting our vision.
It's not.
We only get one chance this life.
You only get one chance.
For this life, you know, like, yes, you can believe in afterlife and other things, but like this body,
this life,
this experience, this mind, this is only one shot at this.
Yeah.
So why should we continue our time in a situation that just doesn't feel right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I also want to give you your flowers because I remember you even shared this off camera. We talked about the RLE pod and just the accountability, like why we're so excited to start this, because we feel like personally it will hold us accountable in our lives.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier, like to be able to get on this platform and to talk about one thing, but then be living another thing, it's like, it's, you know, I just wouldn't feel good doing that.
I don't want to live out of alignment, because I know this platform is about like the ultimate woman that we are trying to become.
Yeah.
And like walking how we talk, practicing what we preach. And I think that was one of my biggest just like things in the back of my head, is just like one of the biggest things that we're going to talk about is our self-confidence.
Yeah.
Our vision for our future, our mental health, our clarity. And I just knew that that relationship that I was in was interrupting that.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to, you know, come on here and talk about confidence, self-worth, and blah, blah, blah. But I'm still in a relationship that I know in my heart, this is not what God wants for me.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you saying that. And
No,
it's
for
just
sure.
like, I'm proud of myself too for being where I am here, because I feel like I'm where I should be.
Where you should be.
And I don't have that in the back of my mind, like, girl, you know, you be crying every week.
Yeah.
And you getting on here and talking about leave a situation, but you didn't leave a situation.
But you didn't leave a situation.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to be up here talking about this and the third, and I'm not having these same conversation offline too. So
that's a responsibility that you have on a platform that, you know, we carry, and we want to walk with integrity. We want to not just get up here and talk, like we are real lifing these transformations, and it's not from a place of like we are perfect women where, you know, we have everything figured out. Like, it's a journey.
Absolutely.
And this experience is helping us do what we say we want to do.
Yeah, and do what we were called to do.
Yeah, do what we're called to do.
Do what we're called to do.
In order to do that, we have to believe in the highest vision of ourselves and act accordingly.
And
making that, you know, taking those hard steps and choices, it comes with the territory.
It do.
We got to leave our old life behind.
We do. Oh, that was beautiful. Well, we could just end it on
That's
that note.
To end on. You're right.
We could end it on that note. All right, guys. So, again, thank you so much for tuning in on this episode. I don't even know what episode number we're on at this point.
Is it 7
but
6? I don't know.
it's probably like 7. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in on this episode. Again, I'm your girl, Ebony Westwood.
I'm Kristen Noel, and I hope you got a lot from this.
Absolutely.
We went deep for real.
We did.
This episode was a real one. We did.
I'm definitely looking forward to expanding the conversation on relationships. So hopefully we would get to do that on our next episode. And hopefully we'll bring in a few friends to join us on that topic of relationships. So
stay tuned, y'all. Love you guys.
Love you. Mean it. Bye.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into another episode of the Real Life Everything podcast.
Yes, make sure you use our hashtags on social media, the RLE pod and Real Life Everything.
And don't forget to follow us on all platforms. We're on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at the RLE pod.